Hi, I'm Maggie.
Hi, I'm Grace, and this is
A Very Bookish Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to episode 46 of A Very Bookish Podcast. It is week 3 in our October event, and we have a very special author with us today. We have a popular Booktok author, I would say. We have Ben Alderson, author of Lord of Eternal Night, and oh my god, so many good books. How are you today, Ben?
I'm really happy, and thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I'm ready to kiki and talk books and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
we're so excited to have you on. Thank you for agreeing to be on with us. And yeah, it's going to be a fun episode.
yeah.
Maggie, you want to start it off?
Yeah, so do you kind of want to introduce yourself a little bit for our listeners who have not heard of you before and have not heard of your books? Do you want to just give us a little rundown?
Yeah, so I am Ben Alderson. I am the author of Lord of Eternal Night and other works like Cloaked in Shadow and The Lost Mage. I am a gay author who writes gay books with gay characters across the spectrum, and I'm just out here to try and create stories where people can see themselves represented but not questioned. So I'm trying to do a different take on writing queer stories without being queer as it's not like the main plot twist or the main conflict. It just is what it is, and we're kind of living our best lives in these fantasy worlds. So yeah. That's
it's
me.
the normalization that's needed. It's like
Yes.
it's a gay book, but like that's not just because they're gay, that's not the whole point of the book. It's like there's an actual story and there's a plot, and it's like they're gay, what's the point? I think like that's so like, not to like criticize a little bit, but that's so common now where it's like, oh, like the characters are gay, and it's like, well, but does the book have a good plot? Like, what's the plot of the book? Like, I need to know sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think definitely the normalization is needed, where it's just like, yes, there's LGBTQ plus. Sorry, I get that. So I'm part of the community, and I'm like, don't know how to say it at all. But I feel like it's so like normalized because I've been reading more like books, like bisexual books now, since I've been feeling more comfortable about my sexuality and stuff. And it's like reading those kinds of books, you feel so represented in them, and it's like it's normalized. So it's not like you're like, oh, it's not so heavily centered on it where it kind of feels like that cage where you're like, this is what I have to be. And it's like it's great that people like you are making it where it's just like, you're gay. What about it? Like, what's up? Here it is. And it's really, I thank you for that, because it's also amazing, and I love that for you.
I'm so glad. I really just felt like I really wanted to. I think books where coming out as a storyline is so important for people to see and experience all the different options and versions and outcomes of coming out. But I also think it's really important where somebody can read a book. You don't see Sarah J. Maas being like, and this straight character kissed this straight, but you just don't see it. So I wanted to write books where you don't there's no labels, although it's very clear. I like a label myself. Like I like to label myself as gay. That's what I am. But in the books, it's it just is what it is. Like the boy falls in love with the prince. And it's literally never questioned. It's just is what it is. It's just, I love it. And for me, it's really therapeutic to write the stories as well, because when you've gone through all the coming out and stuff, it just is a bit exhausting sometimes. It's just nice to write a little bit of a safe place. But
it's definitely stressful for a lot of like young new adult readers or anybody really, when they're coming out. It's definitely a stressful time, and to read that in literature and to be like, just feel accepted and like in a safe space where it's like, it's a big deal, but then it's also like, but it's like so normalized. I think that's very important to readers now, especially. And so you definitely are filling that gap where it is needed, especially in like fantasy and LGBTQ plus fantasy, where it's more adult. I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but porn. I mean, we admit it, and we love to read. We love to read good smutty scene.
I never thought I'd write new adult stuff, and it's not because I'm not confident about it. I feel like I'm quite a sexual person in general, so I've never been like shy about it or thought, I'm not going to write it because I don't know what to do. But the opportunity never really arose, really. And then I joined Booktalk, and the rest is history. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm going gonna try it out, and it was so much fun. And the one thing which I found, and with Lord of Eternal Night being the book in question, was I like to think the book has quite a good plot besides the smut as well. So I try to really focus on the story, but the story follows older characters, and the older characters are stuck in a castle, and yeah, they're probably gonna sleep with each other and, you know, bounce, you know, upon the cock. But
it's okay, you can go ahead and bounce
it's part
on
of
that
the
dick.
story. It's part of the plot. It has purpose.
It has purpose. What else are you gonna do?
It's a character development.
Yeah, it was so important. That's what you do. You're alone. Oh my God, you're out camping in the woods. Oh no, he's spooning me. And this is what it is. So, you know, it just is part of being older. And I thought it just fit the story really well. And I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome. And I feel like a lot of people who have been like looking for like other fantasy books, because like Booktok went through a whole phase of just reading smut. Like I feel like everybody was reading fantasy at the beginning and we were all into it, and then something came along and we were all reading smut, and that was it. And now people are starting to transition back to fantasy, but now they're looking for fantasy that has the spice, that has the smut. And here you are. You're just like, here you go.
Seriously, get on the hype, because I'm ready. Blue alien porn. I think it's my time to shine. Put yourself down to your local Amazon and get yourself a copy of these horny vampires, because it's time.
Oh yeah. And I feel like vampires are such like a sweet spot for everybody, because like,
Sweet spot.
look, you know, everybody has like, you know, when they go back to think about it, what started, and it's usually like with the trifecta, you either started with like witches, vampires, or werewolves, and that's like always the spot that people go back to.
Yeah.
It's always something that's like familiar, and people are just like, how can we see what's new with vampires? And it's there. It's there.
Here it is. You're so right. For me, it was witches that started my reading stuff. What was it for you both?
I was a vampire girl.
Vampire girl.
I was a vampire girl. But then I became a werewolf girl, and werewolves kind of like took over.
I never got into the werewolf situation. I just don't think the witches hunt, name a book. I've read it. Sweep series to Kate Tiernan, to LJ Smith, to Sally Green.
Loved LJ Smith. LJ Smith actually is like, so I fell in love with her Night World series. Stop. Stop.
Oh my God. This is a whole thing. This is Grace's personality. And
where's the final book?
Grace was writing the final book. Like Grace like actually like was gonna do like a fanfic writing of the final book.
Because you know the pain. You know the pain. We waited, and it was even teased in the last book. We had that little chapter.
Yeah. And then she just, well, I feel like that was, I don't know, like, what happened?
What happened? What happened? It's been 20 years.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. I mean, we there's so many people who have been waiting for this. And I know that my listeners have heard this story multiple times, but the series that we're talking about is the Night World series by LJ Smith. It is a 9-book series. And each series, like I'm talking about, this was written back when I was born, 1995, right? And like, it started off, every book had a different story in the same world. So it was back before those interconnected stories were even really popularized. And then we get the last book where it seems like everything is being connected and it's coming together in this final book. We get a teaser chapter in the last book that is coming out soon. Never released. Never released. And it left the world wanting more.
It's bizarre. The closure, the lack of closure. And you know, it's such a blueprint for authors these days to be writing these standalones in a connecting world, like Elise Cover smashing it with Deal with the Elf King.
Yes.
You know, adding in the elves, the fae, the vampires are coming soon. It's kind of what I'm doing with Lord of Eternal Night. We've done the vampires and the witches. We're introducing elves into it really strangely, and all, you know, it's like a blueprint of how do you don't always have to have a trilogy, you don't always have to have a duology or a series, you can do something a bit different. And I thought LJ Smith was like the queen of
oh
that.
my gosh.
Yeah. It's
Chef's
kind of
kiss
Grace's
her.
whole personality. Like
Literally.
literally anybody mentions it and she will like go off. But it definitely is like, I think we see it now where it's a lot of like standalones in a series. So it's like a series of standalones. And I think that's very important because like for me, I get bored. Like if there's like more than 3 books with the same character, I'm like, okay, like how long is this gonna last? I'm like, I want to see like these side characters. And then like I read a ton of standalone like series because those are just bread and butter. Like they're so good. It's
Quick, easy.
yeah.
Mhm.
A Deal with the Elf King was really good. I got it. I got a like the Fake Crate edition, so it's like the
With the
nice,
pretty cover.
the pretty cover and like the sprayed edges and stuff. It was like their December of 2020 box,
Yeah.
and I got it, and I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful.
She's
So pretty.
She's amazing. She's absolutely smashing it. And I think seeing people like Elise Covert in the indie world, seeing people like Emma Hamm, seeing people like KJ Sutton, people who I love.
Mhm.
And then you see people like the Atlas 6 being picked up by a publisher.
Yes.
Oh my god, what's going on? You see what's her name? Scarlett. What's her name?
Charlotte St. Clair.
Scarlett St. Clair. Books being picked up by publishers halfway through the indie career. People who publishers wouldn't have even touched 5 years ago because, oh no, you've tainted your brand because you self-published. We're going to be picking up new, you know, new talent.
Yeah.
New talent's not paying the bills and you're coming to the indies. So where's my money? Penguin! Bloomsbury!
Do you kind of want to give us and our listeners kind of like your background in publishing because you are a self-published author, so you kind of want to give your like history of writing and all your kind of story?
It's a bit of a long story, but I'll kind of shorten it.
We got time. We got time.
We got time.
So in 2011, I joined Booktube. I was one of the first like males on Booktube. I was the most followed one in the UK. It was like everything. My whole life had gone from never reading a book to books being my whole entire life. I was in with publishers. I was doing marketing. I was working with indie authors. I managed to quit my day job and just like work on books full time. And it was everything. So I had a real cool innings from like a really early stage. Joined Bookstagram when that was just kicking off. If you've ever heard of the hashtag, oh my God, YA Lovin', that's one of my hashtag. I made that back in the day. So being a part of the book world back at the start when Divergent was coming out and it was like crazy. Fast forward to thinking, well, I'm working with these indie authors. I know the publishing space enough. I'm going to set my own publishing house up. So for 4 years, I was publishing other people's books and I was, you know, doing that whole thing. And then whilst being like, I really want to write, but my confidence with writing is this big because I've been told throughout my school, you're not very good at spelling, English isn't very good. No, you can't study English at what we call A level, which is kind of like your college years. It's not very good. The teacher was like, no, I don't want him in my thing. So I just had really low confidence. Then I was like, bugger it, I'm going to write. So then I did it. And then I got into writing. And then I was like, this is so scary and overwhelming, and disappeared off the face of the bookish world for 2 years. And then come December of last year.
November 30th is your
November 30th. Yeah, I knew it was so close around that time. I literally was scrolling through TikTok and randomly started seeing people talk about books and being like, oh, I remember this like back in the day. And then being like, I'm just going to post. And then I posted a couple of videos and they didn't really hit. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll just post here and there. And then had the first pop and had the feedback and people started reading. And then I was like, oh my God, time to start publishing again. So since then, it has been head down on the computer, writing as much as I can just to kind of catch up with missed time. But that's my very long story, very short, like snipped it down.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And I feel like people had like this reawakening, like definitely Booktalk like reawakened a lot of people who were part of like the book community very, very early on, like you said, had, you know, life happened and then they just fell off with it, you know, doing other things. And then pandemic hit, TikTok hit, and now everyone's coming back to it and everyone's finding all these new authors, new books, and a lot of authors are deciding, you know what, hey, I could probably do this. Let me try it out. And now we have so many popular indie authors all over Booktok. Like, yeah, we have a whole bunch of like publishing authors who are published through like publishing houses and all these things, but then we have a lot of indie authors who are, their books are really, really gaining popularity, and then we're seeing it follow through with like publishers starting to listen to them and picking it up, and it's just like this wonderful chain reaction that has like started. And so many people are enjoying and picking up books that they didn't even know were there. And like you said, like now you get to go back and you're just like, here is everything I'm writing, I'm enjoying it, and that's pretty amazing.
It's honestly Booktube, and I'm Booktok, sorry, not Booktube, honey. Where that RIP, rest in peace. Booktok is literally the most powerful community of people. I've seen the Booktube, I've seen the Bookstagram, I've been on Book Twitter, been there, done that. Early. I'm telling you, Booktok is the most powerful. And not even, I mean, for me, yeah, like it's amazing. It's like really changed the game, but I'm by nowhere near what some of these authors are doing, making and kind of experiencing. But the fact that people are finally taking indie authors seriously, besides those real avid readers who'd always been on Amazon and never really cared for social media, and people have had big followings back in, you know, big cults. But this is like taking it to a new level. An indie author can go to sleep at this point, having no one really reading their books, to one person, lucky person reading, posting, having a pop, and then it's a trend, and then it's gone. It's just the most incredible and motivating thing to see when I'm seeing Blue Aliens in the top of the Amazon charts. Because yes, it's Blue Aliens, but the stories are really good and the author's really talented. Just like, oh my god,
crazy. Because Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, also released a book and could not reach #1 on Amazon because of Ice Planet Barbarians. And I was like, that really shows the power of Booktok, because literally alien smut was getting higher than a guy who's at a movie.
Hundreds of copies a day. We're talking about hundreds of a day. And if it's in Kindle Unlimited, it's a bit different because the downloads from Kindle Unlimited, although it doesn't show sales, it does affect the thing. We're talking like the traffic these people are getting, and it's just unbelievable. Like it's unbelievable and amazing. Like this crazy community to be a part of it is amazing.
It's so crazy because like you'll get like a creator who just ends up picking up a book. Like you'll get Pauline or our friend Eamon, you know, they'll pick up a book, do a quick reaction video to it, and literally everyone's running to go buy it, to add it to their cart.
Addie
LaRue was like, that was on another level. Like Addie LaRue, Jennifer Armentrout, been in the industry for years, like been reading her books for absolute years. I've got Wicked on here from when that first released. Now, like as talked about as Sarah J. Maas in terms of the Blood from Blood and Ash. It's a really wicked thing, and she does have publishing support behind her, but a lot of those publishing houses aren't big, and they're indie presses themselves. Some aren't and some are, and it's just amazing to be like, oh my god, and also the power of the people watching the videos too, because yes, it takes like Eamon's do an amazing video and just have pure raw emotion, and people like latch onto that. But if you put the same thing on Booktube, I just feel like it wouldn't have the same reaction in terms of buy-throughs. Because everyone on TikTok's like, it's quick. It's like it's so quick. Like trend now, here now, I want it now, because of you can watch a video for 6 seconds, that mentality. It's just wicked to see. Like,
I think it's an important business model of like marketing and too with TikTok. And I think we see like Barnes Noble and a lot of the publishing houses are now starting to understand that like the market of like TikTok and like how you can look at a video for 3 minutes now, basically like a 3-minute video you can watch now. You can go directly to that person's like profile, find a link to that book and buy it then and there. And it's like the power that I put into Eamon and Eamon's reviews, the amount of power she holds. Like I compared to like, I'm gonna say like a Booktube. I used to watch like Booktube videos when I first started out on Booktalk, but like now it's like, do I really want to watch? I mean, I make Booktube videos, but I do like one a month. That's like, those are like updates, like me just like literally like making my room and stuff. That's what those videos are.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not gonna sit there and watch a 20-minute video of a review about a book when I can go watch Eamon, who does a 60-second review, and see if I like it or not. Like, it's just like, no hate to booktubers.
It's a different, 100%. No
Yeah.
hate to Booktube. Been there, and it's like great. And if you're still doing it, like that's fantastic. And to be honest, I think all the booktubers that are on now, I don't watch because I'm not part of the community, but they're probably a whole host of different people. And I'm pretty sure like they're slaying it. So go them 100%.
Oh yeah.
In my mind, when I think and I talk about Booktube, I think and I talk about Booktube as if I'm still in it with the group of people that were in it when I and I feel like a bit over it for that, you know, like over it. When I think about that. But it's this whole, it's like Fortnite. I love Fortnite. Me. How you doing? Seriously. I love it because it's seriously how you doing? Because
I love that.
Like games, and it's this whole quick thing. It's this I want something here and now. I want it quick, I want it easy, and that's kind of like Booktok. It's you can watch a 7-second video, be crying with laughter. Like, what's going on at this video, you know? And it's such an evolving, different, changing thing. And it's it's amazing. So Booktalkers, if you're out there, feel free to talk about a lot of Turn On Nights. Please take the weight off my shoulders because I need to write and I can do videos.
That was another question that I had for you is like, I noticed that you're very good at promoting your own book. Like you do that a lot. And it's like you'll do a trend video, but you'll add your book into the trend. So like, what is some kind of like advice to other indie authors that you want to give about like promoting your book and using social media as like a marketing tool for them?
It's I've always loved social media for marketing more than anything else. It's not the most beneficial. Ads 100% is, but I just don't have the capacity or the funds for that. I like social media because I feel like I'm part of something, but also not being part of something in a really weird sense. So my advice is be yourself, wholeheartedly be yourself, and try and think creatively. I am in the worst video sample of my life, so I don't know how it's being presented, but I struggle every morning to think of what I'm going to film. I'm kind of over it. I'm kind of posting and giving it away, so I should really take my own advice. But when I really was enjoying it, it was like video ideas were coming to me every minute. I was like, I need to film this and get this up. I wasn't caring about what time I posted. I wasn't caring about how many views it had. I wasn't caring about the shares, the comments, the likes. Try and hold on to that, not caring about the numbers, because it's when you start caring about the numbers and then start comparing is when it becomes a bit of a toxic thing. So enjoy it and just have fun with it rather than take it as something too serious, because these things don't last. It's different when you're promoting something like I am, which can get tiresome for people who are watching. So like, here he fucking goes, like shaking his ass to Nicki Minaj, holding his book one more time. And then where if it's other people, so I'm waiting for that moment of people being like, we're done with you. Let's just hope it's not too soon, because I love my time.
It was a great time to be on. It was a great
time. That 2021.
Oh my God, it's 2020. It's almost 2022. Like if we think about it, it's like this is October. We're in October. That doesn't Booktalk literally has like.
It's a time vortex. Literally, you could be on there for forever and like not even realize it. But I mean, I think that a lot of authors who you see promoting their books and doing it in like really unique ways are doing a better job of kind of like pushing their content, because they're seeing like what book talkers are like doing and what they're seeing and what kind of works. Seeing like those quick few second videos the trending sounds, the hashtags, and all of that kind of goes into it. But it's kind of like what makes it enjoyable. And the more enjoyable it is, the more people are going to want to watch it, the more people are going to want to look at it. I mean, like, people will ask me, like, I'm not that big of an account, but like, you know, people will ask me and be like, oh, how do you start? How do you start on Booktok and things like that? And it's literally the same advice. It's just like, enjoy the content that you're pushing out, enjoy the videos that you're making, because the moment that you start making it feel like it's work and it's tiresome and that you have to do it, and you lose that sense of like enjoyability, and your people who are watching your videos will feel it too, and they feel like, well, why should I read this person's book if they don't even feel like talking about it or showing it, you know? And I feel like that's important for anyone, for authors, any other types of creators, anybody who's watching videos and things like that, you know, create and keep that sense of like fun when you do your videos. And, you know, if you look stupid doing it, trust me, there's a whole bunch of other people looking stupid doing other things too. And that's usually the ones that people keep rewatching.
Yeah.
Those are the ones.
Completely agree. Just have fun.
Yeah. I also think that, like, for me, like a technique that I do is that, like, I'm not in the filming. I'm not wanting to film every single day. I don't film a video every single day. What I do is when I'm in the moment, like, I save audios and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I could do this, and this with that. And I'm like, I will film when I like am ready to like film and stuff. And so like I just say that, like, when you feel creative, just film a bunch of videos and have them as a backlog, because there are days in the week where I'm in university right now, so like I can't be like filming every single day and posting like a video every single day. And so it's like, know like the boundaries and set yourself with boundaries of like, this is what I can do. And like there are people like Eamon and like people who like are Pauline, who are very big creators, and like, but they're able to make this content because that's what they're doing now. Like that's their like basically their livelihood is making these. And so like for those smaller creators, like if you want to grow, I definitely think that like it's putting like yourself and like yourself out there and being honest with who you are. Like if you like to read porn, just tell people, hey, I like to read porn, these are my reviews. All you got to tell them, and you will have people flocking to you. But kind of just like being able to set your own boundaries for when it comes to social media and not focusing on the numbers like Ben was saying earlier. Yeah,
because that's where it gets a bit much. And I think we all, as a world, do focus on numbers because we're trained to from a very early age. What's the time on the clock? What's in the bank? How do you count? Da, da, da. And I think it's hard to separate yourself from it. And I'm the worst person at giving the advice, because I'll be sat there thinking, oh my God, my video hasn't got very many views, I'm going to delete it. And then I'm sat there and it's ruining my day, because I'm thinking, oh my God, because what if if my videos don't do well, how am I going to sell a book? Like, you know, and so, but it's kind of like, you just need to realize it's fine. It is what it is. There'll be it's TikTok. Who understands the TikTok algorithm? Nobody. There'll be people with 20,000 followers who get more than 20,000 views on every single video. There's people with 80,000 followers who get 400 views per video. There is absolutely no rhyme or reason. Yes. So just go for it, because who knows, TikTok might be deleted in 3 years' time, and then Vine 2.0 might come back, and we all have to adapt and evolve. And that's the whole point of social media and, you know, marketing online is evolving.
I would definitely be a fan of Vine 2.0.
100%.
100%.
Oh my God, Vine. Oh, I miss those days. Like I remember like filming like a Vine in like my mom's car, and I was like, I don't even remember what it was, but I remember like yelling at people from the car. Vine was such an era.
Vine was amazing.
Like,
I get the TikTok, I get the Vine vibe sometimes. It's just it's the same thing, you know, really.
Yeah.
You know, when the algorithm is good, you are getting good videos. I just feel like there was just something so nostalgic about Vine, and just you know,
it was a time. And now I see like Viners who like went on to YouTube and went on and did all these other things, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I remember your videos used to make me laugh so hard. And then we still have like those Vine sounds still, like they're ingrained in us, like
literally.
Dude, when I see road work ahead, I always go, I sure hope it does. Like, I will say that. I literally was driving home yesterday from my parents' house, and I was like going through like a construction zone, and I saw it, and I was like, I sure hope it does. I'm in the middle of my car, like nobody
I
else
love
is with me, but I'm just like saying out vines and stuff, and it's like, or it's like, it's an avocado. Thanks.
it.
I say that in the grocery store all the time. My friends are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I want
No.
mine back." Like, oh, that was an era.
It was a time. It was a
good
beautiful
time.
time. I have a question about your books.
Amazing.
I absolutely love your covers. I love your covers so much. So, could you give us like a little info on your covers and like your whole process with choosing artists for them and all of that?
Yeah, of course. And then I'm going to give you both. Nobody has seen this. I'm going to give you both a sneak peek at Lord of Eternal Night Book 2, which is King of Immortal Tides. Black and white art. It's the next stage. So I'll kind of explain the artists I've worked with in their stages. So I started working with an artist called Upon a Daydream, Gwen, who I did the Jagori series with, who I loved. It was just on a whim. I was a friend with her. I did covers for her with my old publishing house, and I said to her, "Oh, could you draw a sketch of this character? Because I've got this character in my head, and I'm starting writing this book." Didn't think it would become anything of it. She sketched this character kneeling down. I fell in love with his face. It was just literally a sketch on a piece of paper, and I was like, "You have to make that into the cover," which is how that came about. And then, yes, I worked on her. That was fun. This process was quite long. It would be like quite long gaps between art. So it would be like a month or two working on a project, maybe even longer. So you'd constantly be refreshing your emails, waiting for that next update. And I'm quite a needy person to work with. So you just drop me an email with an update, I'm fine. And that was a fun process to work on. And I've always like loved that with Gwen because it was the first covers I worked on, and yeah, really good fun. Now I'm working with an artist called Maria, who is blowing my socks off. So I worked with her on Lord of Eternal Night, and she does her process in 3 stages. She does full sketches. You pick the one of the sketch you want, and then she does a black and white version, like to build the undercolors up. And then once you qualify that and say it's all good, she'll then add the color, and she literally can do a cover in 2 weeks to 3 weeks. So sorry, I get hiccups when I talk really fast. That's all that is. I'm like sounding like Marius in the book. Oh, really? The Lost Mage, again, I worked with her as well. This was really fun to work on. So I kind of look in artists, I look for people who firstly people don't know, because I think that's really exciting working with like kind of like undiscovered talent, but they're not undiscovered because they've got big names themselves in other spaces. But you all know how powerful fan art is in like the bookish world. We love artists. So I always try and pick somebody who isn't really a part of that world, because also that might open up doors for them. Other authors might see the covers and want to work with them, and it kind of opens them up for new revenue streams. So that's kind of how I like to work, especially like with all the editors and everything. I like to be able to kind of like put other people onto them. So whilst I'm talking, I'm getting up the sneak peek cover, which no one has seen. But yeah, so my main thing is slightly undiscovered in the book world, and somebody who's really efficient and quick, because I'm a very impatient person. So I like the fact like Maria will give me constant updates of how things go. Now, I'm not going to, I was going to show you the whole thing then, but I'm just going to show you the close-up sketch that she's still working on. This is like really early stages, and we can get your initial reaction. This is King of Immortal Tithe. It follows like after Lord of Eternal Night, years later. I can't say what's overtaken the world, but something has overtaken the world, and we're basically following a character who's living in this commune, this walled area, where the elves have come out of this realm like, hey, we're going to give humanity a second chance, otherwise it's the end of the world for you. We're going to protect you in this wall. We're going to keep these things out. However, in payment for that, we need to take your wives, daughters, and sisters, and they have to bear us a child for reasons. So it's a Hades and Persephone retelling, where Hades, this elf, comes and takes Persephone, this girl, but our main character is Persephone's brother, and then Hades is like, oh shit, how's that pussy? And he wants to have sex with Persephone's brother. So he's like, Persephone, not for you, hun. The brother, everything's, of course, the brother can't get pregnant, so that's going to cause some problems.
It's the TikTok sound. You're coming home with me. It's that TikTok sound.
Yeah, period. So this is the kind of sketching situation of where we're at the moment with cover, and nobody has seen it yet.
Stop.
Oh my god.
That looks the dagger.
The dagger, the placement, the hair, the everything. It's going to be everything. But that's like a good week and a half, 2 weeks away from being finished. But
that looks so good.
Oh my god.
First of all, that whole like rushed synopsis was just like, hold on
a second.
I just did that cover.
Hades and Persephone retelling where Hades actually fucks Persephone's brother. That's basically the premise. I'm going through the plots that we all love in Booktok. We like the enemies to lovers. I've done that. We like the one bed trope. Done that. I want to do some other bits and bobs, and I want to put my own gay spin on a Hades and Persephone retelling.
I've never heard of like a Hades and Persephone retelling where it's like, oh, Hades doesn't actually want Persephone. Hades wants Persephone's sibling. Like that's an ultimate like Hades and Persephone like actual like, oh no, just spin on it. That's
I love that.
If you start seeing people publishing in 7 months' time of that kind of book, you'll know they listened to this podcast and they thought that's a good idea.
Exactly.
I am out. I'm coming out here in these streets. It's on Amazon already. You can't take it from me. So.
Well, I love that. It's so good. I'm so excited for this. When do you plan on pushing this out?
So it's coming out in August next year. Okay. Next year is quite a big release kind of year for me. I always, even before I started writing, I always had this plan that 2022 would be a big year. 2023 is my big year that I'm like really holding up my hopes for. But next year we have A Betrayal of Storms, which is my new gay fae series, which is coming out in January. I'll have this out next year as well. That's what I'm currently writing. And then we'll have that'll be coming out later in the year next year. So we have Betrayal of Storms, we have A King of Mortal Tithe, which is the one I've just said about the Hades and the Persephone and the brother. And then we'll have the sequel to Betrayal of Storms, and then like a secret other project coming out next kind of December time. I'm gonna try my hand at writing a non-fantasy romance. But with like smut in the real world and kind of putting my own spin on that, you know, like a Christmas rom-com.
Oh, that'll be so cute.
That would be so cute.
Yeah, I feel like
I definitely get what you mean about like trying to like pull back from the fantasy and jump into contemporary, because man, when I was like pure fantasy only and that's all I wanted to like read, write even, and then like I picked up a contemporary book and I'm just like, I guess I'm gonna try it out. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. And I was just like, where's the magic? Where's the other? Does he have something? Oh, he just looks human. I just feel like it's missing something. But then like after a while, you kind of get into it and you're just like, oh, contemporary is a sweet spot. Yeah. So I definitely think you could definitely enjoy that. And especially because there's not that much gay, there's not a lot smutty of rom-coms out there.
And especially male authors too. There's not a lot of like, I mean, we have like non-binary, but we don't have like, I think there's one, and it was like The Palace something, and it literally looked like a red, white, and royal blue. Like,
I know what you're talking about.
It was by Paul Rudnick, and that's the only like romance, LGBTQ plus romance that I've seen like written by a man. I like just identifies as a man. I haven't seen anything else, so I was just like, that's gonna be really great for you and to get into that market and to get into that niche.
And you know what's the craziest thing is, I'm sure there's so many books out there, but unfortunately they just don't get talked about, because if you're not writing, sorry guys, we're going to say some painful truths to the listeners, but if you're not reading one of the hyped books that everyone holds up during Pride Month to say, I read LGBTQ plus books, and it's this free, you know, we're not all going to have access to know of all these amazing other books. Like, we all have an amazing plethora of knowledge in terms of indie books now. Scarlett St. Clair, Elise Cover, you name it, the Guild series, so many authors have been in the industry for ages. Everyone's getting on Badlands. Stacey Brown used to be a friend years and years and years ago. So, but there are gay books out there but we just don't have them in front of us. Nobody's putting them in front of us saying, this is amazing, this is amazing. Because as much as we all love to jump on we love Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is amazing. I mean, these books are amazing, but guys, there's so many other books.
There's so much more.
Dude, it feels so performative when I see like straight, and I'm no offense, but like I see straight like content creators who are just like, oh, these are the LGBTQ plus books I'm reading this month, and I'm like it's okay to read like a straight book in Pride Month, but like it feels just so fake when it's like, oh, I'm meeting my quota. Like here's how to show you that I read this. Like here you go. I'm not going to diversify any of the other months, but here's the one month that I'm going to show improve. I'm like, well, why don't you just like, you can read, like, it's okay. We're not saying you can't read like straight cis books, but it's like, add some spice into your life. Like, goddamn, like you don't have to read it in just 1 month.
Yeah.
I know my readers are all part of the LGBTQ community. Like I see it in their comments, I see it in their reactions, and I absolutely love that I've tapped into that community. However, I feel like I'm doing an injustice because I don't have the time to read, as we kind of touched on earlier. But I there's so many books I want to read like out there that are gay and queer and amazing. I just don't do myself that justice to do it. Like I'm the first one to be like, okay, well, I'm part of Booktalk, I'm part of this whole video making pressure. I'm like, I should really read the big ones because that's going to add to the hype, that's going to add to the views, to the followers. I should just be sitting back and reading something that I find myself represented in, and that's something I'm going to literally change. In the little time I have to read, I want to focus on getting in as much kind of, diverse novels across the board into my life, because I'm following trends is fun, but I'm kind of like, I'll follow the trend if it's like
it's something that I want.
Yeah.
Dude,
like
whenever I see like somebody recommending like LGBTQ plus books and then they put like Song of Achilles and Red, White, and Royal Blue in there, I'm like,
yeah,
like really, like you're being that like, yes, the books are great books, not going to deny that, but there is a time when it's like overhyped and overused, and I feel like those books, it's starting to become that, where it's like, okay, this is getting really repetitive. It's like, well, why aren't you recommending like newer books? Like, are you really just, yes, they're great books, but are you so stuck on just these 2 books that you haven't been reading other books? Like it's just come to a point where I'm just like,
I kind of feel like it's kind of like a bingo card, and it's like the free space that you get, and that's Red, White, and Royal Blue and Song of Achilles, and it's like an automatic mark that you just do just because it's always there. Everyone has already read it, everyone talks about it, it's in every video, and that's what it is.
to get you on this hype, because on Instagram there's a kind of group that I've found myself involved in terms of following, and especially this girl called Library Mouse, and it's library__mouse. She reads like LGBT books all the time. Granted, she's reading A Kingdom of the Wicked, but let's give her a break. Like she can read with straight stuff. However, I always see that she reads things like Lore and Lust, TJ Klune books, my book, really. And just like so many that I see that she reads, and she's always sharing like queer art. And then I got involved with a girl called Rez, who did some fan art for my books. She reads queer stuff. There's like this niche of authors and artists who just read queer stuff. And oh my god, I'm learning so many titles. I'm like, oh my god, I need to read that. Dark Rise by C.S. Pacas.
P.S. It's C.S. Pacat? Yes.
Yeah. So she just wrote a book called Dark Rise that I really want to read.
It's so pretty, the cover. And
so pretty.
The fact that you mentioned that, I know The Captive Prince. I literally mentioned about this, and I think it was a while back ago, we actually talked about the book and how it like romanticizes stuff. And I just want to clear the air that after reading the amount of dark romance books that I have read, definitely like I'm gonna read it, but like I want to say, clear the air for everybody else who's heard that episode, like I retract my statement. So that's called progress. That is called progress and change. And like, because I hate when people say it's romanticizing stuff now. So I just wanted to like retract that real quick. So, but yes, her cover is so beautiful for that book.
I have heard that book's got some like stuff in it, but like I don't really know. Like I said kind of earlier, I'm so detached from book drama, just generally across the board. So I'm the kind of person Googling, Googling, oh my God, I'm so old. Honey, can you Google something? No, what's it on the Twitters, on the search bar on the Twitter. That's basically, that's what I'm getting at. I'm always the last person to tell you. So update me, what's the tea?
Yes.
Oh gosh, there's new tea every week. There's always something new. Apparently, the newest one was someone is going around and reporting smut talkers videos.
I've heard this mass blocking or something, or mass reporting. Keep that energy away from me, guys. I've worked too hard to get my videos blocked. Keep it away.
Said no.
I repent, seriously.
Yeah, no, there's always like the constant, like it's brought up every single 2 months, romanticizing, and like people who read dark romance or like mafia romances are like romanticizing the mafia and want it to, like, they want to be a part of the mafia, and it's like, bitch, do you think I want to die? Like, no. It's like, bitch, I have a brain. Like, it's fiction. It's fiction, sweetie.
It's always something new that comes up, and it's always it's kind of recycling always the same conversation over and over again, like every 3 months. So we always get like the romanticizing, like darker themes, and then it's the overconsumption, and then it's like that we're addicted to porn, and it's always the same thing over and over again. And then we get problematic authors.
Porn we wouldn't have time to read.
Literally.
Period. Yeah. So come on. And also, it's not even porn, it's called reading books about people your age. Yeah. Because I'm sorry, people our age don't ride broomsticks, wave wands, blah blah blah. They're riding wands whilst buying sticks in the back of the cupboard. So I
love that.
when we joke, when like us readers joke and say, oh my God, we're reading porn and stuff, it's like, it's funny because it's like, well, it's
because we're kind of taking the
power back,
the power back from the negative, and making a joke of it.
Because it's like, I don't know, there's like the Chad on TikTok who like was talking about women reading smut and stuff, and all of Booktalk, it was just like dragged this dude to the
I did see that
filth, and it was amazing because it's like they just mentioned Chad and everybody knew who they were talking about. And it was great. It was great. Like, great for men to read. Like, it's great for men to read romance. I think that's important. Straight men especially, because they definitely think it's like weird, and I'm like, no, just read it and you'll understand women. It'll probably help you.
For those who say that they don't understand their partners, read a romance novel and you will understand what people are asking you for.
But it's I think Willow Winters talked about it, and it was like, it's good for men to read romance, and it's great, promoted, but it's like when you read romance and then start criticizing it for not valid reasons, and it's like, oh, you criticize it for it being like porn and it for being like too emotional and all that kind of stuff. It's like, this is romance. What did you expect?
Honestly, if people
kind of like the whole point.
But also, what really bugs me, and I do think there's a lot of negative stuff with porn, generally in porn. Like, I think it's like, it is quite negative. However, stop making everything out to be sinful and awful and bad. Like, you're saying it's like porn. It's like, and like, I don't know what it's like when people say, oh, that's so gay. I'm like, how are you using that as a negative connotation for something? Like, stop being ashamed of sex, everyone, and let's just learn together. And I think actually I've probably learned, well, I can tell you now 100% I've learned more about the female anatomy in the book I've been reading because of Booktok. Let me tell you, I feel like I've had a crash course, on distance and all that, but I have to, so that's what I feel like I'm giving back. You guys need to learn about bottoming. I'm going to add douching into one of my books. Add a whole thing. So, I'm just giving back to the community by teaching you all about the gay sex whilst you're all teaching me about the hetero sex. It's
a win-win situation.
Win-win
situation, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
But
so kind of a question. What is your like, how do you write a book? Because you've written books, obviously.
Obviously. I mean, have you?
I know.
We're not entirely
at
sure.
this point, honestly, it's constant.
So like, what is your writing process? So we talked with Katie and she said she likes to do like her cover first, for like her indie, and then she'll do like write the book. So what's kind of like your process of like, do you have like a plot in your mind and then you like write and then you do the cover, or like what is your whole process from like drafting to like publishing a book?
I think I definitely have a plot. I definitely know the vibe of the story, and I know the main character. Whereas I can't write it without knowing the main character and how he'll respond to things. But then I'm very much like Katie. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna need a cover really quickly, like, because I'm gonna help. That's gonna help motivate me. And also, if I have a cover and I'm spending money on the cover, I'm not gonna give up on the story. My process is, I know where I'm starting, and with the first book in the series, I always know where I'm ending. It's the middle bit that I kind of write it as if I'm a reader and I don't really know what's coming next until it happens. And if I'm starting to get bored writing it, or like, oh, I'm in a writing slump, it's because I'm probably having a bit too much sit down, talky dialogue scenes, and I need to add an abduction or a murder or something. So I'm trying
something to spice it up. Something
to spice it up. Yeah, exactly. So with the Betrayal of Storms, which is coming in January, I generally believe it's quite intense and fast paced. Potentially almost too much, but that's the whole, in indie you need them to be quick and fast paced. But we're going from an abduction scene to a murder scene, chapter 1, chapter 2, to an attempted assassination scene, and then to this and to this. And I did that because I was writing it thinking, oh my god, what can I make it exciting next? Something that the Hunger Games I liked about the books is it always ended a chapter on a cliffhanger, and I was like, I love that, because that makes me want to read next. And as someone who wasn't a natural reader, or someone who had to kind of force myself to get into reading, that helps. So my process is know the character, get a vibe of the world, not even necessarily know the world, just have a vibe and explore. I always imagine my stories like a scratch out map. In my head, I'm scratching out the detail alongside the reader. Then I go back and I read things in with like foreshadowing and with, following drafts. But yeah, that's kind of, I'm a bit of a chaotic writer. So now writing a sequel and I'm like struggling my way through it because I'm like, what the hell's happening? What's happening? What's going on in the scene? But then hopefully it all comes together once I go back, finish it, edit, and yeah, I'm chaotic would be the short answer.
But that's pretty. It seems like you kind of have like your little moments here and there, and you're just connecting along the way.
Yeah, complete connect the dots.
So do you have an editor?
I do, yeah. So I work with 3 people.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to ask you, like, I didn't ask Nisha or Katie, but like, how is it like working with an editor, and what is kind of the vibe of it? And like, for somebody who hasn't worked with an editor ever before, or even published a book, like, what is that process like?
I've been through so many different processes with so many different editors. I've been burned by editors and I've had really amazing editors. For me, what works really well is somebody to go through and suggest changes to the story, but focus on the spelling and the grammar. Because for me, the spelling and the grammar is my weak point. That's what I'm really, really conscious about. So that's why I have the main editor, go through it and make her suggestions, but really focus on the actual spelling. And then I send it to another who focuses on the spelling and catches things that I missed. Because not one, and this is the one thing I will recommend in indie, if you can, have multiple people read it, whether it's your friends who are just good at English or editors, because every one person will always miss something because you're looking at the same words constantly. So I send it to 3 people who go through that. I add suggestions. I have beta readers and I have alpha readers, and I try and keep my story. If I was in traditional publishing, it would be very much, I send it off, they send big cover writings like, these are your developmental edits, and these are your structural edits, and these are your copy edits and your line edits. I focus more on the line and the copy edits on a professional standpoint, and I try and put a bit of confidence in my own storytelling, and get a reader's perspective on the editing rather than an editor's perspective. It's very weird, and I've just been through so many editors. So I would rather my editor focus on the spelling and the grammar and make reader suggestions back at me. Like, okay, whilst I was reading, I thought this bit and I need this bit to be changed and da, 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 rather than in the English language, this part of the story would be better here because of X, Y, and Z. I trust in my own ability to tell a story. You're never going to please everyone. That's the one thing. I could pay 1 million editors to edit the same story, and there'll always be somebody that doesn't like whatever version. So I just trust in my own storytelling and just try and put out a polished draft. It's hard in indie, but that's what I try and do.
Yeah. I think that's important. I was wondering, like, because I know a lot of, like, it's very different from like indie and publishing, but like getting a reader's perspective from a book, and like, because readers will figure out the plot holes. Like, we'll question, we like, hey, like, this doesn't make sense. Like, Grace and I have been writing a book together, and we will like we'll talk to her brother, and we'll be like, okay, do you like, what is the plot hole? Like, question us, and like, so we can fill those plot lines, because I feel like readers we catch on to that, and we're so invested in the story that we're willing to like, okay, this is a little like it could change, or like this part doesn't really make sense because in this part it said something else. And I think that's like really important. It's like, ask your readers, like, hey, does this make sense?
And readers are like very like, our cognitive and like reading comprehension skills are really up there. So we'll read a scene of like some action scene or some problem solving scene, and we'll just be like, well, why didn't main character just do this? They have this thing there, why didn't they just use it, you know? And you kind of need those people to read these stories and question those things. Like, why did character go around the tree instead of just going straight across the path? Like, why do we have this? And then as a writer, like, you're writing these scenes and you don't realize like, oh, well, this was such a shorter path to this point. Why didn't I just do that? And then readers who are going along with the story and invested into what is happening and what the characters are going through, they'll catch those little things and be able to tell you a lot more. And because they care about you and care about your story, they'll just be honest with you and tell you like, this would make more sense. Because like, that was our big thing when we were talking with my brother about it. Like, our process is kind of different in the sense that I am huge on world building. I love the world to be established. I want us to be like stepping into it.
Yeah.
And to kind of, it makes sense where it could possibly exist. It's so thought out that it could be an actual world. And for that to make sense, you have to be like, well, what does the government system look like? What does the magic system look like? How do people survive? What is their relationship with other species and things like that? And for all of that to make sense in these magical, fantastical worlds, you need people to understand what you're trying to get to. And I feel like beta readers are like chef's kiss when it comes to like looking for those little missing points.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's really important to flesh out a world and make it as realistic as possible when you're writing about fantasy beings. And that's the one thing that I love to do, but I have very lack of confidence. So you're speaking at things now and I'm thinking, oh my God, like my books, like, is my magic system okay?
No, Grace, great. It's funny because literally Grace and I we had like these we had Zoom sessions for like 3-hour long Zoom sessions where we'd literally like, we were down to like how each species would react with each other, and like literally down to like, okay, the moon means this, and like this is why this happens, kind of thing, because of the moon phase, and because this and this happened in this exact location because of XYZ. We mapped it down to a T, and then we're like, okay, what if this happens? Or like, oh, that would happen in book 3. So we like planned out like 3 books in our series. We're definitely planners. We're definitely.
You're a plotter. I'm a prancer. I have no idea what the moon's going to do. If the moon explodes in chapter 3, so be it.
Yeah. And it's definitely like, it attests to the different types of storytelling and the different types of like writing styles of like, we'll get to the end eventually. The book will be finished.
Yeah.
We just have different ways of getting there.
Third person writing?
We actually, so the book is, for us, it's going to be a dual POV. So I guess we can tell you a little bit about it. So our story is we are writing about these two girls who are going to this college, to this university, who is human on surface, but underneath it's like this like night world-esque university.
Everything.
I am heavily when I tell you the Night World series changed my view on everything, that's what I wanted to do. And so I wanted to create this whole world where creatures are around and alive and thriving and living and interacting with each other. And then we have these two girls. My character, whose point of view I'm going to be writing, is a witch. She is Hispanic and she is from Southern California. And then Maggie has the human girl who is going to be thrust into this. And
my human girl is an immigrant. She's from Russia. She lives in Texas. Very, very much self-insert here. But it's the kind of like, she's kind of that perspective of like being thrust into like new things is a constant thing in her life where she doesn't have control. And so like, I mean, I'm not gonna say it because it's kind of like a spoiler, but it happens in like the second chapter, like third or fourth chapter.
We can say it. I mean, okay. I think it's.
Look how in tune you both are. You know exactly what she's about to say.
I know exactly what she's about.
4 chapters. So much can happen in 4 chapters. You two are so in tune with your writing that you know exactly what's about to come. I love it.
When we tell you, we planned. Like I had like a calendar like set up for like, okay, this thing happens on this day and on this time because of XYZ, and the same thing happens this time XYZ. And so yeah, we definitely like planned. But basically she dies. The human girl dies. She is not killed by a vampire, but her throat gets slashed. We haven't decided how she's gonna die exactly, so but I kind of want her
somehow
to get slashed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but she
my character jumps in and is just like, oh, you're not gonna kill my roommate, and brings her back to life. And somehow this school is a portal central ground for like the whole world, and things happen to her, and then the story gets developed and she becomes this kind of doorway to the other side. And we have like a whole ghost whisperer kind of storyline.
What a show. Sorry, what a show.
It's
delicious. Jennifer Love Hewitt in that show loved it. Every episode was amazing. So we had some of that, and then the first book is going to focus more on her character jumping into this world and kind of like figuring out what happened, why was she killed, why were this serial killer on campus kind of doing things. In the second book, we find the plot thickens and we have more magic going in, and it's more focused on my story, my character story, but it's still dual POV. We have a cliffhanger possibly in there. We have werewolves, we have shapeshifters, we have vampires, we have character deaths. We have literally planned out most of the storyline for the 3 books. And I feel like that's why we did it that way, because we want things that happen in each book to be part of some bigger scheme.
Yeah.
And like I said, the Night World messed me up. So I was like, if I'm going to do this, we're not going to leave the world hanging. We're going to bring it all out to fruition. And so that's kind of why we had to do it like that, because everything needed to have a purpose. And so that's why we're heavy plotters. We're like, we need to plan 10 steps forward before we take 2 steps, right? But it's fun.
Yeah.
And we're taking all of the things that we love on Booktalk and fantasy books and romance books, and we're throwing it in there. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
When do you get covers, and when you are writing, and when it's ready?
Oh, best believe.
I will need early access, open doors.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah,
But
we
I
definitely
think
plan on all of our like listeners, or not our listeners, all of our guests to get copies and like to receive
100%.
arcs and stuff.
we
So
got you guys for sure.
Yeah.
It'll be some time,
yeah,
but I think what you guys do with designing your covers first is definitely like that inspiration for you guys. I think we might have to do that
I
because
think we
I'm a
might have
very
to
visual person.
Yeah,
say.
it's good something to focus on too. Like, oh, I want to get this. I want to see this physically. I want to see this physically. I want to see this physically, and it's really cool. Like, I did a Betrayal of Storms cover when I was kind of just in the early stages, which is what I usually do. The only problem is though, when you get it done really early, why do you say though like that? Though when you get it done really early, I then get like itchy. I'm like, oh, perhaps I should change it. Oh, maybe I need more art. Yeah, a Betrayal of
Yeah.
Storms is very different to the other books I've got in terms of its cover, but I'm holding on to it because I do love it. So
Oh yeah. I mean, we're definitely like visionaries in that sense. I mean, like when all of these authors, these indie authors, were getting like their special editions with like book boxes and all of this stuff, I'm just like, that could be us. And then we can have it like this, and all of our spines could make a picture, and
Yeah.
like then all of the covers will be connected, but they won't really. And I was going in deep with the visuals. I was like,
love that. I'd love to be picked up by a bookish box. I would
Oh.
love to. I'd absolutely love to so much. So
I love them so
yeah,
much.
they are absolutely staying the game. I've worked with Fairy Loot on a book called Inherited back in the day. I've worked with Alfred twice. I really would love my chance to shine and just have a book. Listen, we need to get it happen. Come on, guys. Pride month next month. Get planning. Let's do
Get
it.
on it.
Seriously.
Get on it.
I mean, like we kind of talked about this with Nisha, but like I'm a whore for like special editions, like special edition books. I actually have like I'm gonna grab it real quick.
I didn't treat
I
myself.
literally
enough.
bought like acrylic like stands that I'm gonna mount up onto my wall right here,
I love, yeah.
and they're gonna be like my special edition books are all gonna go on here and stuff.
Love.
Like when I tell you I'm a whore for special editions, like give me a good special
I
edition.
don't treat myself enough. I want to get a bookish box. I don't treat myself enough. So I need to just be like, spend some money there.
It is hard because like
Every
we
now
live
and
in
then.
the UK and it's like
Mhm.
different because like shipping is so expensive to get it there. Because like I
Yeah.
get Fairy Loot. I got Fairy Loot a couple times and like the shipping to get to the US, I'm like, holy shit, like oh my god, my heart.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
I just love American editions of things, and I want to come to Barnes and Nobles again. I
And-
miss Barnes and Nobles so much. So
And
Yeah.
everybody here loves the UK versions.
honestly, let's swap because I've got American editions which I loved all the way back from America when I came years ago, and I just love them. So, but bookstores in America are elite. I'm saying it. Elite.
You don't think so?
I worked at Barnes and Noble. I had a kid shit in the children's department, so I don't know if that's really elite or not.
Hey, that has to do with like that whole, what is it? That whole thing about like when you go into a bookstore and you immediately have to go to the bathroom. Don't know what it is, but it's like a thing.
Is
It's
it?
like, it's a thing that immediately when you go into a bookstore and you smell like the paper and books and things like that, that you automatically have to go to the bathroom to take a shit.
Next
It's a
time
thing.
I'm gonna go around and be like, find the kids section.
Oh yeah, it's
It's funny
a
that
thing.
I brought up that story because like I'm actually writing another book series myself, and it's like a bookstore. It's called the Bookstore Babe series. So it's a series about booksellers. And literally like
Another
the first-
self-insert.
another
for sure.
self-insert. But I'm literally taking all of my stories from working at Barnes and Noble, and I'm like, okay, what if these were like actually books? So like the first line of my first book is somebody shit in the children's section, and it's like it's iconic because I remember when it happened, and we were all like in a bookstore in the middle of Kansas. You really like pooping in the children's department? Like, why?
Donaldson.
I get paid
Next
minimum
rule,
wage.
doll.
I get paid minimum wage. I can't deal with it.
Honestly,
But
not me.
yeah, so like what is So you're from the UK, obviously. For our listeners who don't know that, he lives in the UK. You live in
Didn't hear it.
yeah. I mean, you do have an accent.
I mean,
What are the bookstores like? You were talking about how like American bookstores are elite. Like, what are the differences between like bookstores like here and then versus like I know you have
Okay.
Waterstone.
We have Waterstones, which I feel like is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's Barnes and Noble. They're owned by the same.
Barnes and Noble's your big one, yeah. We then have WH Smith, which they think they're the leaders in terms of YA books. They're not. Sorry, WH Smith, I love you. They did comment on my engagement pitch, and I did reply saying, "Are you giving me free books for life?" And they ignored me.
By the way, congratulations.
Oh yes, yes.
Very excited. It's been 7.5 years in the making, so
Wow.
yeah,
Long
I
run.
feel like people don't expect me to be my age. I don't think I'm that old anyway, but I'm 27, almost 28, and I think people are like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
You're fine.
yeah."
I'm 25. We're
there. I think
we're
we're that kind of era, but yeah. So so we've got Direct Smith, and then we've got Blackwell's, but Blackwell's is kind of it's amazing. The one in Oxford, they're kind of like Oxford bookstores, but I do think there's a couple like around the UK, but that's mainly like an Oxford bookstore, which is where I'm from. I'm not from, but I live here now. And then you've got Foyles, which is my favorite bookstore. Foyles giving me very Barnes and Noble vibes. Very big, very full shelves, giving me spend your money. Like Barnes and Nobles, because I went to America and came back with a bookcase full of books. No, I'm sorry, a suitcase. It's 9:20 here at night. I'm losing the will to live. But yeah, I came back with a whole suitcase of books because Barnes and Nobles is everything. I could literally pluck things from my shelves that I bought. I just loved it so much.
Oh my gosh, I remember because like that's funny because like Calvin, he went to Germany and he literally brought a suitcase full of books with him, and it's like 50 pounds worth of books. And I'm just imagining like you like in America buying like 50 pounds worth of books and just taking it with you. That's crazy. Like
it's insane. But you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
Like but like sometimes like UK covers just look so amazing.
So pretty.
Except for like people we meet on vacation though. Like sometimes like the people we meet on vacation cover where it's like me and you on vacation, it's not even like the same title, but it's the same book, but different ending.
Same book.
But it's like
then
why?
The English book covers nasty. Sorry everyone, but they're not the nice for me. American book covers delicious. So let's what?
It's always like that. It's always like that where it's like you always like what you don't have, and it's like oh
yeah.
I think it's also like the like oh these are the UK covers like
it's special.
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 I'm trying to convince my partner to go to America for our honeymoon.
Oh.
Just I can go to Barnes and Nobles.
Do it.
Go to all of them. Go to all of them. Do a road trip.
Barnes and Nobles in the Grove, loved.
Okay.
In Anaheim, loved. Or it was near Anaheim. We had to get a taxi for like 30 minutes outside. I feel like America was very separated. Like it was like if you wanted to go somewhere, you have to be in the car for a long time.
Okay. You're reminding me of like that guy on TikTok who is like blown away with like how big America is. And he literally is talking about like in the UK, if you want to go to a different country, just drive a couple hours and then you're there. Yeah. But in America, you tell me that you drive 10 hours and you're still in America. You're still there. And like every time somebody like comments like, oh, wait till he finds out about this. Wait till he finds out about how long it takes to drive across Texas. And it's so funny to me because like that was literally you because like, yeah, we're so spread out.
I was in San Clemente, which nobody ever knows. And I always go, you mean Sacramento? I'm like, no, I mean San Clemente. CLEME.
Yes.
And the only bookstores was the Target, which wasn't a bookstore, but everything to me. Target.
Yes.
Very boo-bouge. Love it. Love the food. Love the goldfish. Then there was a second-hand bookstore, which was everything to me. But I was going all the way to Barnes and Nobles, and she was like, honey, it's like a 2-hour drive to the nearest Barnes and Nobles. I was like, hun, get the car going. Turn the So I do remember I didn't go as nearly as much as I wanted to, but thank God for the bank account, because seriously, the money I spent and the suitcase I had to bring back was actually embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
But
I gotta
do it
say,
for your honeymoon. Do it.
yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Look up the prettiest Barnes and Nobles and like go there and just like do like a bookstore crawl and just go to all of them. And you'll
One
just
book per book, but one book per bookstore.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you could do that. Maybe like
Or
two. Do two.
I'd go to one bookstore and buy all of them and go the rest of like, same ones.
Yeah.
But then you'll see one that has the edition that you wanted at the other store but didn't have it, and you'll just be like,
I have dreams about it. I actually physically have dreams of going into Barnes and Nobles and being like, I want to get this book, and then I can't. And not even in like that. I dream of going to a bookstore because it probably ends up in a murder. But I generally do have dreams of like seeing a bookshelf with American books and being like, I want to pick you up, and then I can't pick you up. So
It's
I love that.
It's I've gone to like bookstores in like I've gone to one in like Paris, and then I went to one in Kiev, Ukraine, and like the difference I've noticed, like it's definitely that like smaller, like cozier vibe versus like a Barnes and Noble where it's like literally takes like 5 minutes to walk across the whole store. Like when I tell you, I was walking like 7-8 miles a day, working like a 7-hour shift. It's huge. Like I was power walking. Like I don't know if y'all have ever seen, like it's a really great TikTok that a Barnes and Noble posted. It's like when a newbie like goes to give somebody a book, and then when like a pro bookseller goes to give a book, and the bookseller's like running down the aisle. I tell you, I will like I'm short. I'm 5'3". I don't got long legs. My legs are short. I was walking so fast, like these 6-foot guys would be like trailing behind me, and I'm just like power walking. It's huge. The Barnes and Nobles here are like ridiculously big. But I want to go to a Waterstone. I want to go to like one in London and see what they look like.
I kind of miss that feel. I love Barnes and Nobles like any other person, I love it. It's something about like those new books and everything, but then going to like a smaller, like cozier store, it gives you, I don't know, it's something a little bit more authentic about it. And going into smaller bookstores and indie booksellers, like you get that more personal connection.
Yeah.
And yes, it's great if they have like all of these other books. Like I went to the Rip Bodice in Culver City, which is like all romance. I literally walked away with like 10 books, and like all my other friends like Pauline and Tish and Tanya, they were just like, how many books did you grab? And I'm just like, because like this is my genre right now. This is what I'm reading. This is what I want.
I feel like I saw the pictures.
Yes, you probably did.
And Pauline was there and the big bunch of you were there.
Yeah.
Yep. That was us.
Yeah.
And it was literally like having a small bookstore, right? It was just dedicated to romance was absolutely amazing. And the owners were so nice and so sweet. And yes. That's us. Yeah. It was
also,
literally
say stunning. Hold on.
Yes,
Tanya is goddess. Love her.
It's funny because I saw that she was hanging out with Tanya, and I like literally, I all caps like scream texted at her, ask Tanya if she will be on the podcast. I want her on the podcast. Ask her, because I'm a fangirl, and I was like fangirling over her, and I was like, you have to ask. And Grace looks up and was like, do you want to be on the podcast?
It's the style for me.
Oh my gosh, she is like literally, I love her so much. She's just like, every time I look at her, I'm just like,
she's so beautiful,
gorgeous.
and she's so sweet too. She's such a nice person. Like interacting with her on comments and stuff, and just she's so nice.
She's so funny too.
Yeah,
bookish people are the best.
Bookish people are the best.
Okay,
like that's the dream. Like like a few years ago, it would be like, oh, be careful who you talk to on the internet, right? You never know, it might be whatever, right? And who thought today we would be like, you know what, I met this person on the internet.
Now we're gonna go on a trip together.
We're gonna fly across the country together to go visit another one.
Yeah.
We're gonna let's go grab lunch. And
the power of Booktalk.
So insane to me.
Power of Booktalk.
Power of Booktalk. Like,
so guys, be careful, because I'm not gonna lie, I did have a stalker. So you've got to be careful. It's a long story, probably for another day, but it
Oh
was
no!
very,
Oh my god!
I was texting Elise today and was like, because we Facebook message more than we text, and I was like, I was like, Elise, we have each other's number. Like, why are we Facebook messaging? But then I realized it's because I texted and I hadn't had a reply. I was thinking that's so weird, and this was like months ago. I realized because I never told her I had to change my number. But yes, did get the stalkation. Did happen, so be careful, but also you trust your instincts, because
Was it like, were they like a fan and they were like stalking you, or
they were I don't like the term, but yes, they were.
like were they a reader?
They were a reader, yeah. And it was like, I'm talking 200 calls on my phone a day. It would be call gone, call gone, call gone, call gone, one after the other. It was intense, and I knew exactly who it was, and it was very stressful, and he was trying to trick. It was just the whole situation.
Oh my God. Wow. That's scary.
So, yeah, you've got to and I think this is that contributed to my disappearance from online for 2 years. That was a big factor, because it started after I first did Yalk, which is like the UK version of BookCon, and that's where he met me, and it started there. So and it had a massive effect on me being online, and I think it's taking a lot to go for that point. And it wasn't until he generally was like, the police went up to him and had to say like, this is your warning, if this happens again, we're going to go to court. So because of that, I disappeared, and I think I forget about that sometimes. So do be careful, live your best life. You do trust, but it's the men. Don't trust the men.
I wasn't gonna say it. I mean, there was only like a handful of male book talkers that I trust. It's you, Calvin, Roddy, Reese.
I love Calvin. I love Calvin.
Calvin is hilarious.
He's everything. And what I love about Calvin, it's the same with Eamon. Eamon was the first person to ever do a video on my books. I didn't even realize somebody had bought the book from her wish list and sent it to her, and she did a video. Love her, genuine person. Same with Calvin. I'm so proud of what he's done in such a short space of time. Thank God, because that happens to the straight book talkers that hold the books up. So thank God it's somebody that
he's actually funny. He's actually
has something to say, reads books that aren't all straight. I think he's really sweet, and I see him pop up, and I don't know, like I feel like I'm a big brother in a way, and I'm like, oh my God, go! We don't even talk that much at all. But I sent him my books, and it was everything, and I think he's so sweet. So
he is a great person, and like it's funny because we talk about him on the podcast a lot, because he's
an avid listener. He's like our number one hype person.
It's funny because we'll talk about Calvin once in an episode, and I'll be like, Calvin, don't listen to this, or like, Calvin, like turn off the episode, Calvin. And he'll like text me, he's like, no, I don't want to. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh, he's listening to like the most recent episode of the podcast. But we love Calvin here, and Calvin, that was our like biggest episode, was Calvin's episode where he was on. I mean, both of our biggest episodes were men, but
Who was the other one?
We had this
Harrison,
this TikToker who plays hockey and who was fan casted as Garrett in Elle Kennedy's The Deal.
Oh, I think I've seen him.
Yeah, he was fan casted, and then he ended up actually reading the book because people pressured him, and we were like, hey, can we get your perspective on the book? And he actually it was a very interesting conversation where he took notes. He brought pages of notes with him, and I was like, I felt shamed, because I was like, oh my God, like this dude remembers more about the book than I did. He's like analyzing their relationship and stuff, and I was just like, this is how straight men need to pick up the books that we tell them on Booktalk. Yeah.
It was really funny because like there was like a scene that we were talking about. It was just like, oh yeah, and then after they went to this place, right? And he's just like, no, that happened in chapter so and so.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Like he stood us up and was like, no, you're wrong. Well, he didn't say that, but like it was just really funny how it's like we both had read the books, but he was like he analyzed it better and knew more than we did. It was great.
I love that.
He's not a book talker. he still does like, he definitely like, I'm not gonna say stayed in his lane and was like, I'm just creating like my like TikTok content, like, but like he had that splash with Booktok because so many people were pressuring him into reading the book, and he did, and he enjoyed it. But now he's back to like his like hockey stuff and thirst traps. So
Really?
well, okay, it's funny. So I actually got caught in like 4K, but you know the trend that's going on TikTok right now with like the hips. It's like all the guys. I know, I love it with the guys who do it. And he was doing the sound, and I was like, oh my god, it's gonna happen. Oh my god, it's gonna happen. And then he like flashes the camera, and it has like, you know, like where they're like taking a photo of you instead of actually doing the trend, and that's what it was. And I was like, Garrison,
I'm not here.
Got me.
Actually, out.
I
love the dancing trends.
Oh my gosh. Every time I hear that sound, like I automatically like do it, and I'm just like, dang it, I can't do it. Booktok, it's not gonna do well with my videos. Let me not.
Yeah. I know, honestly. I've got captions now on my videos, and I'm pretty sure if I put captions on and I'm talking about gay things, it's like, boop, not going anywhere today for you. Not doing anything for you today. It's annoying. So.
I noticed for like a lot of creators, like they put like the word smut, they put any of that, and their video gets taken down immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I've put knock on wood. Hopefully these are wood. I don't know. They're my IKEA shelves. They're probably not. But like I'll put it, and it's like I get good views on it and stuff, and it's like, but I've definitely had to like the censorship when it comes to book talk and romance books in general. It's like, holy cow. Over.
You know my trick. So I'm half Greek, and I have a Greek keyboard on my phone, and some of the Greek alphabet looks like British or English. British alphabet, as if we ever did one.
Okay.
So we just take the language, you know, we the Americans. But no, I type gay, but I type it with a g, and then I type with the Greek letters. TikTok could never catch me out. I'm a professional.
Do you hear that, everybody? That's how you do it. Use the Greek alphabet. It's funny.
Greek alphabet out and put in the A that looks like an A and put in the Y that looks like a Y. Get A gay. And you can do it with smut too, because I do it with smut as well. SM for the UK one, U and the TT for the Greeks.
That's actually pretty funny because like my dad's Russian, so he sends me like a lot of Russian memes, and it was like,
oh yeah,
you forget that you're typing on the Russian keyboard, but it's like in Russian letters, but you read it like English, and that's exactly what that reminds me of. It's like you can get away with it. You can. That's definitely a way to get away with.
I outsmart TikTok. I deserve a 1 million view video for that.
Dude,
exactly.
Like, my biggest video is of me purchasing a book. Like, that's what my biggest video is. And I'm just like, that's not all over.
Doing a stupid skit from Blood and Ash. And I'm thinking, why couldn't a video about my books get 600,000 views? You know, I'm out here literally dancing to the same sound 24/7. Somebody give me a million views. If I had a million views, I honestly think my life would change. Not because I've become popular or anything, but because a million people have seen my book. How else? Like, that is impossible for marketing.
You literally like lose count, and you don't realize that it's that many people. Like even like 1,000 people, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then you start getting up a little bit more and more, and like you're just like, that's a lot of people that have seen my face.
Yeah. No, like when I when like kind of focusing on the numbers real quick, but like when you think about it, like when you first hit like your first 1,000 followers, you're like, holy fuck. Like if you think about 1,000 people being in the room with you, watching you while you make that content, you're like, holy fucking cow. And then you hit 10K and you're like, that fills a stadium almost. Like
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh. You will get there, Grace. You will get there.
It slows down though. Like TikTok for me I was gaining like 1,000 to 2,000 followers a day at one point, and now it's like 10 followers a day, and then like the poppages and the followers and the shares and all that kind of stuff has completely died down in the past 5 months.
Oh my gosh, it's been so bad. Like this past month was so bad.
It was
so across the board.
I'm going through it at the minute, a bad couple of weeks.
I was definitely like that, where I was getting like 500, 600, 700 followers a day after I hit like 5K, and then it jumped, and then I hit like 20K, and it's been like a steady like, okay, 3 followers today, 4 followers, and it's just been like steady increase. And then like my views, like I used to be able to like post a video and it get 10,000 views or like 15,000 views, and it's like great. But then like I'm starting posting now and I'm like, I'm barely hitting 1,000, and I have like where algorithm, what TikTok?
Yeah.
What?
Like today, I posted a video today, the usual time I posted a video, which I've done the format for like loads of times. It's been up for 6 hours. It has 700 views. I have 78,000 followers. What's going on TikTok?
Yeah.
It's just like there's no rhyme or reason. So that video, I'll delete that video later because I'm like, oh, numbers.
But I will say this, like TikTok's new algorithm, it's like pushing to your followers first, and then the more your followers start interacting with it, the more it starts like being pushed out, because like that is how my videos do. Like now on TikTok, I just literally post whatever, because like it's more that I'm posting on TikTok so that I have content for IG Reels. That's me.
Shocking. Again, I was doing that. I was reposting them, and then I had a couple that were like 500,000 views for no reason. And also, they got the views like a week later. Like randomly, I'd start getting
yes, that's the thing. Like a video that like right now, I have a video that's like popping off, and it's a video that I posted like maybe like 3 weeks ago, and that's how it's been, because like 2 weeks ago, a video that I had posted 3 weeks ago then was like really, really big, and is like now at like 200K or something like that. And I'm pretty small on Instagram as well. And so for that to happen to like, I only have like 2,000 followers, but it's IG Reels is my sweet spot. I will say it time and time again. Like if your content is not popping off on TikTok, most likely it will do really, really well on IG Reels.
Do you save it directly from the TikTok, or do you have an app that downloads the video without the branding?
So this is what I do. Before I post it to TikTok, I screen record it, like, in the preview, record it, have the sound and everything, and then just edit.
Because that's what I need to carry on doing. I feel like because I used to have that app that you could download the videos, and then it took the branding off, but I think they got rid of the app because it stopped working. But I used to do that, and they did well, and ever since then, like, they don't do as well, but it's fine. But we need popping. We need a pop. We deserve happiness and success.
Yeah,
we do. It's funny because like Tanya said this one thing. She was just like, TikTok is like the definition of a toxic relationship. You do something good and they applaud you, they give you love and everything, and all of a sudden they just ghost you and just like leave you alone. And you do everything to try and get that attention back, and then you do something, get the attention back, and then
that's how it gets so much of us in, because it's an addiction. We all have our moments of having like at the beginning of our careers on whatever app, we have loads of pops and we get addicted, and then they're like, okay, right, they're hooked now, so we're going to lower back, and then we keep posting, we keep making them money, and then they give us another one, to make sure that we're constantly staying in the circle, and it's complete addiction. So it totally sucks, and we can't stop. I don't see myself getting off of TikTok though. We won't stop. We won't. Totally fine.
I just find like TikTok, it's like it's finding your like niche with your like followers on TikTok, where it's like for me it's like the recommendation videos that have my bookshelf in the background, and then me just doing transitions with my hand showing. Those are the ones that really people like from me, because I don't know, that's just the ones that they like. Or like me like driving all the way down to Kansas City to buy a bookshelf, and then coming back and building the bookshelf and putting books on the bookshelf. That's what people love to watch from me, versus like my recommendation videos. I'll always put out recommendation videos for like 4+ stars books. Never do as well as like my like just me building a bookshelf. Like
being natural, just being
Yeah.
unfiltered and being natural. That's what I think. That's what people do love. They love that. They love just seeing people every day. What I've always been told is when you think it's boring, other people won't, because they aren't you and they don't know what's coming and they don't know what's going to happen. So that's it's chuck your hooks out there into the ocean and see when there's going to be a nibble.
Yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow.
It could be tomorrow. Watch. Your book is gonna like pop off in one of these videos.
Ready for it. Honestly, I'm so ready for it, because then I can like not post every day. That's the one thing for me. Like, I have to focus on writing, and I have a really unhealthy writing, social media, and work life. So I need to be able to just be like, because I don't really see people talk about the books, really, like, if we're being brutally honest, which is fine. But I would love just for somebody to read it and be like, I love this book, and then people discover it and feel like it's more natural, because you do. If you did a video of my book and it got 600 views, you would sell more books than if I had done the same video and got 600 views, because it's more natural coming from somebody that isn't the author. It's less biased, it's more raw and more authentic. So it's always best when reviewers, it's word of mouth on steroids with TikTok.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well,
this is us wishing good things, good luck.
Yes, this is like us like manifesting this for you. So like everybody who's listening to the podcast, definitely go check him out on Amazon. We're gonna have it linked down below, right to all of his books and his Goodreads. So you will definitely will help promote you, and we'll post everything everywhere. I definitely do. I have so many books I have to read. Like if you're looking at the shelf behind me, these are all my this is my physical TBR. This shelf,
TBR.
Yeah, no, it's
the cards.
It's like it's crazy. I have this full like IKEA shelf full of books of like what I have to read. It's crazy, but we think this is a natural ending for this episode. So thank you, Ben, for coming on.
Thank you.
Definitely had so much fun talking. This was a great.
I know. I feel like you've done really well. It's been like literally almost 2 hours of us just.
Exactly. When we, for everybody who's listening knows that like we love talking with people. That's kind of why, and we love talking with each other. It's like why we created the podcast, and especially October, to help authors promote their new books coming out, and just kind of to get people who haven't heard about you before to listen about you, because we knew about you, and so some people might not know about you, and now they do because they listen to you talk. But do you want to plug any of your social medias and your books before we end?
Just read what you want to read what makes you happy. If it's my stuff, great, and if it's blue alien porn, then go and live your best life. So it's just been, I love interacting with people, and I feel like sometimes the old person have been like, oh, I don't want to interact and make friends, but it's just so nice to like feel like you guys want to listen. So thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun. I've loved it.
Yes, of course.
Yes, thank you to all of our listeners who have been listening. Next week's guest is going to be Alexis Daria, who is the author of You Had Me at Hola, and A Lot Like Adios is the newest book out. Grace, do you have anything else to add?
Our shop info, you can always keep updated on our Instagram for any updates on there, and our podcast Instagram as well for any updates on our authors or cute little snippets of our episodes going up on there. Make sure you guys follow our TikTok as well, all of our TikToks, and help boost our views. So and that's pretty much it.
Yes, well, thank you everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.